you people who watched our clip last week, no sooner did we get the clip up than Affliction went in the tank.
Yeah, we shot the clip, and literally 3 hours later, it was released that Josh Barnett had yet failed another steroid test, making it his third steroid test. He actually has failed 2 that meant anything, but his initial one he failed was in 2001. I mean, I love Josh Barnett. I thought he was a guy that really would give Fedor a chance, but the guy could not just stay off the sauce to fight, and it just took a whole company down with him to some degree.
And Affliction really got in over their heads, I believe, when they started paying these people these hugely inflated salaries. To pay Tim Sylvia, what was it,
$800? They offered Sylvia $800,000 per fight. A man who got knocked out by Ray Marshall.
And a $200,000 win bonus.
Yes,
that's insane.
You know, and I mean, it just Arlovsky $500,000 for his first fight. These were some inflated salaries comparative to what the UFC is paying.
Because Tim Sylvia in the UFC was getting $100,000 and $100,000, $100,000 to show up, $100,000 to win.
Yeah, and that shit's just fucking nuts. And these are both guys. Arlovsky got knocked out one punch. Basically got knocked out, not one punch, quickly by Brett Rogers, the Mohawk Rogers, and then like I slid that in there.
That's his nickname?
No, I just made that shit. It's the Grim Reaper. Oh my God, he's the Reaper. But anyway, and then Sylvia, who basically got just corn crushed by fucking Ray Mercer, who is definitely older than me.
And as Affliction saw the warning signs, they went to Strikeforce and tried to strike a deal, no pun intended. And then Strikeforce was like, "No, we're not doing
having
that,"
anything
because they couldn't afford those salaries. Because you know those contracts are ridiculous.
Yeah. Affliction is probably the best thing for Affliction from a clothing apparel standpoint. Basically, they've lost all those heavy fucking contracts. They can get back to selling clothing, sponsoring athletes.
And now they've actually struck a deal with UFC. They're going to be one of the main sponsors, and they're going to go back to putting up T-shirts and doing what they did right.
And that should be pretty good. The only thing that sucks for them is they've lost some relationship with these fighters that basically they said, "See you later."
Barnett's going to Japan to do wrestling, like WWE wrestling.
Right. Babalu got out. He's out.
Babalu got axed because he choked somebody out too long and Dana didn't like it. So, I mean, that would be, I think, a nice addition to come back. Vitor Belfort's got to be the one that everyone's got to be looking at and going.
Vitor Belfort is probably the best guy that could come out of Affliction who Dana White could sign. He could be a top-notch middleweight in the UFC.
With the exception of Fedor. But Fedor's going to be more challenging to sign, I have a feeling.
What do you think this does for Strikeforce?
They're now number 2, but
they just have a shallow roster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they do have the female fighters, which I think I love the female fighters.
That's later this month.
But they still have a shallow roster. Anyway, what do you think?
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens from here. I think the UFC obviously has a chokehold on MMA. I mean, you could even call it a monopoly if you want, but their next.